Hi, last time I had started to talk about autistic masking and what I had been learning about uh, that trait in myself. And I had wanted to talk about specific examples of something I had seen in myself and looking back in my own history and experience. And I sidetracked myself. And so I thought I would try again. Let's see if I can actually stay on target on what I wanted to say. When I was a teenager, my sister and I were entered into a little beauty contest. My mom was doing this thing with makeup. She had like a huge kit. It was like a suitcase. It had thousands of shadows and blushes and all these lipsticks and liners, and I don't even know what it all was. And she would take pictures of us. She would sit down and we would like do so many layers of makeup. And it was layered and contouring and it was, she only did it a couple times, but she decided we're going to be in a beauty contest. Her daughters are going to be in the contest. And submitted our pictures, and we made the next round. So the first round is just your little, your application, the fee, and a picture. To participate in the rest of the pageant, you had to show up in person. You had to have a couple dresses, a swimsuit, transportation, lodging, and all that stuff. So they gave you this documentation for sponsorship. And it was up to us to go out and try to get sponsorship to pay for everything. My sister was a gorgeous, blonde, green-eyed, freckles, pale skin, just the beauty pageant dream queen. I mean, she's just right up the alley. And she was athletic, and she was bubbly and outgoing and bold, and just always just out and talking to people and hugging on people, and just really just very social, very cheerful and confident. I was dark-haired, dark-eyed. I had the bangs and the long straight hair, and I guess Wonder Years Winnie Cooper look. Even had glasses. I was shy, reclusive, didn't leave the house unless I was in school, and didn't leave my classroom unless I absolutely had to. So I was either in my classroom library, which happened to be the same place, or home, in my room. So I didn't go out, I didn't talk to people. I was terrified of strangers. I was afraid to talk on the phone, wouldn't answer the door. I couldn't give my order to a waitress. Terrified, didn't talk, shy. So to order food, I would actually have to whisper to a relative what I wanted, and they would tell the waitress what I wanted. So my mom took us out and told us we were going to go from business to business, door to door, go in there, and we had this like rehearsed thing we were going to say. You can go in there and tell them you're so-and-so and that you're running for this beauty pageant, and you're looking for sponsorship, and you would like them to sponsor you for, you know, how much they're willing to do, and you'll write down how much they're willing to sponsor and all that stuff. So my mom had an expectation, knowing our personalities. And what happened was, I boldly went from place to place, boldly reached my hand out, shook people's hands, looked them in the eyes, spoke up, told them what I was doing, what I wanted, and smiled and did all the things that you're supposed to do. And I was somewhat successful, but I was interacting heavily. And I was doing the whole trying to be the part, you know, so much so that at the end of the day I was so exhausted. I slept, I think, 12 hours to recover. But my sister clung to my mother's side, hid behind her back, you know, toes rubbing against each other, looking down at the floor, wouldn't speak. My mother was dumbfounded that the one that was outgoing was suddenly shy, and the shy one was out there talking. She couldn't explain it, and she couldn't understand it. In the end, we didn't really do much with the contest. Didn't raise enough. And looking back, it's probably just to take our money. Because my sister was pretty, but I don't think we were beauty pageant material. And I definitely wasn't. So that was kind of weird. But later, as an adult, came across a listing for a library assistant. I spent whole high school in the library. I love books, reading a book a week or more, would write. So library assistant was like my dream job. Looked over the qualifications, and I didn't have the degree. Now I had a degree from a place that wasn't real, one of those scam colleges. Didn't realize it wasn't real. So, but yeah, I really didn't have a degree. And went for the interview. Met the librarian. She was real nice. Wildemar Library in Mission Trail Library in Wildemar. And it's a nice library. You know, it's not huge, but it's a nice library. And I was bold and outgoing, and I always did this whole thing. And I always attributed to, like, I was acting. But I convinced this person that I was an outgoing, confident person. I was liked immediately by her. Hired. I was working there. I would assist people with applying for a library card, look up things, receive things, make orders. I repaired minor damage to books, reshelved, reorganized shelves. I did all kinds of stuff for the library. Loved it. I had an hour lunch break, and I would eat, because I'm so used to like a crammed little lunch break, that I would eat and then I'd have all this time. I had like 45 minutes. So I would actually have time to read. And it was like awesome. So I would be reading on my lunch break. I was exposed to all the new books coming in. And so I would be getting excited. It was really awesome. I could not maintain that mask. And within, I think, a month or two, it might have been sooner, my fear of the strangers, people coming in, interacting with the crowds, she realized I'm timid, I'm shy, I'm not outgoing. I got demoted and transferred. So I went from that library to another library, and I became a page, and the page made much less, and much less hours. Only got half. I was a part-time position as a page at much less pay, and so that was a bummer. Although I really think pages should be paid more, because you know what? That was awesome. Didn't have to deal with the people, and all I had to do was take care of the books. Awesome. But it just couldn't live on $4 an hour. But that's the second time I did the masking. Job interviews, tried to do it, but I don't have the attention span for it, and I don't have the energy for it. So typically, I just look like this. And even this gets exhausting sometimes. So, I don't have the tolerance. Sometimes I just kind of freeze and stare off. And I call it my screensaver. My screensaver came on and my face I just stare out and I just zone out for a minute. And I just sit there. And like, I have stuff happening internally. But externally, I'm just outward like is nothing. Nothing, no movement, no nothing. And so, and then it takes me a minute to get moving again. I get tired that way. So, then it gets harder to think, or harder to come up with the words to come out. And so, I'm glad for where I am now, because I don't deal with customers. There are people around, so I'm not, like, lonely. Because I guess if I'm isolated, like, nobody around, I guess I could get lonely. But there are people, there's 13 people about me, and not super close, and then not directly interacting with me. I sit, and I have a stack of work, and I just work. And they can see on the computer what I've done, so they don't need to ask me. If I have a problem, I'm able to contact somebody and have a solution very quickly. So, I'm doing really well where I am. And I'm so glad that I don't have to maintain some sort of front. I've been working there since the beginning of the year, of this year, February, the end of February, I believe it was. And so, pretty proud of that. Won't get to celebrate an anniversary because I was a temp, and that was made permanent hire. So, permanent hire happened in July. So I won't be able to make my 1 year until July, even though I've been working the same job since February. So, but masking, I think, can look different ways. And unmasking, I think it could happen in stages if you're unfamiliar with what you really are, or how comfortable you are around those around you. Like, the mask was there for a reason, and for safety or security. So, I think other people have stronger masks. If my sister was wearing a mask all that time, I can imagine how exhausted she must be, because she was just always out there. And I remember my mom one time explaining her high school years, and how she didn't feel a certain way, and that she told me the exact process of putting a smile on her face and behaving contrary to her inner workings. Outwardly, she appeared one way, and inwardly she was having this struggle inside. and she would be exhausted. And it wasn't until recently that I understood what masking is. I realized that back when I was a teenager, as she was telling me what this was, what this thing that she did to become popular, she was describing to me her process of masking. And I feel really sad that that is necessary. That is the necessary thing that has to happen for some people, because they are not safe. There is no tolerance for anything that does not conform or does not fit within boxes or labels, that is not like the standard, the default setting. And I hope at some point in the near future that the full range of humanity is accepted and that people are allowed to be themselves, to be authentically and real selves. Because just because something is rare doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it has to be changed or conform. And just because something was one way at one point in time does not mean it remains that way. So there should be room for people to change. There should be room for people to be themselves. And it shouldn't have to look a certain way. You shouldn't tell somebody what they are, who they are. They tell you what they are and who they are. It's for us to reveal us, our identity. So, I've been blessed as a mother to be able to watch my little mystery boxes grow, my children. They present, boy, should they ever correct me on that, I'm fully supportive of that. Should they reveal themselves to be anything, I'm here to support them to be themselves, not to make them something, not to force them to be something they're not. And I think the only thing I would try to make them is to be decent human beings. I'm hoping that that is something that they are. And whole, healthy individuals. That's my goal. Alright, so that's just a little bit about masking that I've understood to this degree. I'm always learning more. And if I learn even more, I will mention it. The channel's not going to be about autism, but I'm learning. So it's just one of those things I'm doing now. And I just kind of talk about whatever's on my mind. Alright, you can like, you can subscribe, you can comment, and I will read the comments. And alright, I'll probably talk about something else later. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.